So to build my bird, because I want to add a bird in as part of this animation. I also see I need to save, because I hadn't done that recently. My bird I'm going to put on top because the bird's going to be on top of everything. So I'll add a new layer. I'm going to call this layer bird. Okay, so to put this bird into this, now what I can do, and I can zoom in at this point because I don't need to be zoomed out to see my bird, is I could do the, well, I don't want to work with that purple because this is the same color as my mountain. So I need to choose a different color. Now if I choose a nice dark color, I can say, hey, there is my bird. So I'm going to do the very stereotypical bird flapping animation first, and then I'll redo it with a much higher quality, better looking bird in a moment. But first I want to help get the point across. So I have my bird. Now if I want to animate this bird, I can select the artwork that I've created for the bird and convert that to a symbol using what F key? F8. Good. So I hit F8. Bird. Okay, now that's a bird. Now, if I want to animate it, I need to select Motion Tween, so I can choose Create Motion Tween. So if my bird starts off screen in frame 1, and as it moves across the stage, I can now see that now I have a bird moving with the mountains. Now, I can do that, but I could also have my bird flying the opposite way to create even a little bit more excitement in my picture. So I can see now the bird moves across. So it doesn't look much like a bird when it's not flapping its wings, though. And this is where we get to the point of talking about nesting animations. So I want the animation to be able to move across the screen. Now I could make the animation every frame of the movie. I could animate the bird flapping its wing as it moves across the screen. But if I decide I want to change the path or size or other things, that's really going to suck. This is where using a tool like Flash versus doing traditional all hand-drawn animation is a much better option. The sequence of a bird flapping its wings is a repeating sequence. The wings go up, the wings go down. The wings go up, the wings go down. And it just keeps repeating, and then you just move the bird across the screen to create the necessary illusion. So if I want to change that, because again, we'll watch once more. Okay, the bird flies across the screen. Ooh, not very exciting. And I could change the path of that. Now, the dots that we see here, I just turned off my other layers so we can just see it. These dots that are showing up on this path of the animation for the bird, each dot represents a frame that I see in my timeline. And if I position myself somewhere and go up to that path, I can adjust the shape of that path. If I take the object and move it, we can see that it now adds another keyframe down in the timeline. And then between those keyframes, I can adjust this path. So let's say my bird is a little bit wonky when it flies. We can now see it's moving across a path. If I test my movie again, we can see it follows that new wonky path, but it's still not flapping his wings, so it doesn't look very good. So that's what I want to do to the bird, is I want to make the bird flap his wings. So I need to edit the bird symbol. If I want to edit the bird symbol, I can double click on it. I can right click on it. I can go to the edit pull down menu. I can even go to the library and I can double click on the symbol here in the library, and now I can see here is my bird. It's one layer, one frame. Now I want to do frame by frame animation to make my bird fly. And if you remember the method we used previously. We turned on onion skinning down in the timeline, down at the bottom left. So I click on turn on onion skinning, and then I am going to insert an empty keyframe by hitting F7 on the keyboard. And we can see now the ghost of the previous artwork. So from this position, his wings are going to extend out. And then I can hit F7 again. And his wings will be up, creating the kind of stereotypical, I'm drawing a bird, so I create a V. And then it looks like a flying bird. So now his wings are up. I can now hit F7 again. As his wings start to pull down. And now if I scrub the timeline, we can see we have some flapping here. If I turn off onion skinning, I don't have the ghosting. And we can see that it's flapping pretty quick. Now, so I now have a flapping wing bird. It's not super attractive yet, but it's a start. Now if I go back to scene 1, I can turn on all my layers and I can see, let me just scroll back over. Here's my bird. Now if I watch this, notice the bird's not flapping his wings. If I want to see the bird flap his wings, I need to test my movie. If I test my movie, we'll see my nested animations timeline is playing independent of the main timeline, and now my bird can fly.